Hi everyone, today I wanted to walk you through how to make an ebook for a children's picture book or any other illustrated kind of book such as a comic or a graphic novel using Kindle Create. Now, I made a similar video to this a number of years ago where I walked you through how to use the Kindle Kids Book Creator tool. However, KDP has moved away from Mobi files, which were the files that were exported by that particular tool. So it's not something that we can use anymore. Also, that was an old video, so it's time for an update, and I will show you how to use Kindle Create instead. Now, before we get into it, I wanted to talk about why it's really useful to have an ebook version of your children's picture book, specifically on Kindle. I'll explain why in a moment. It might seem like a book that's heavily illustrated is maybe not going to be very popular in an ebook format. And sure, it's not going to be the main format that people are accessing, because something that's got a lot of artwork is generally designed to be a physical thing, a thing of beauty, whether that's reading to a child at bedtime or a coffee table book kind of thing. It's generally designed to be a physical product. However, there are absolutely customers that still download those kind of very artistic books. And for instance, when we're talking about a children's picture book, there are parents who, let's say they're traveling and they want to have a whole load of books that they can read to their child. Maybe they're just out and about a lot and they just want to have their Kindle available. It gives them an option. So there definitely are customers who do read ebooks of children's picture books. But yes, they're not the main format. However, if your book is not available in that format, you won't get those downloads, you won't have those customers. However, it's particularly useful as a promotional tool. That's because if you have your book exclusive to Kindle and you enroll it in KDP Select, you can access something called Kindle Unlimited. So this is where customers who are subscribed to Kindle Unlimited can download your book. And so as they're browsing for titles that are available on Kindle Unlimited, and because they can read all of the ebooks, they may well download and have a little look. Now, if you are in KDP Select, your royalties are as pages read. Now, for a children's book, you're not going to be making vast amounts of money because they are a low number of pages. Even if you've got lots of readers, you'd have to have an awful lot for this to be financially a significant part of your business. However, the customers who are having a little look through your book might leave you a review, and that review will be verified. So that's very helpful for the algorithm. Also, they might really like your book and decide to buy the physical version. So then you end up making a little bit of money that way. So that's really beneficial for customers discovering your book. However, there's another element to this. If you're in KDP Select, every 90 days, you can have 5 days of a free book promotion. So you set your dates every 90 days, and I have to always try and remember every 90 days to do this. You set your free days, and they can be individual or they can be in a clump together. And during that time, your book is available to download for free to anyone. So during that time, you can promote your book and let people know the ebook is free. So in one sense, that might mean that somebody might download the book so that they can try before they buy. Or you might want to use it as a way of garnering more reviews. You can do both, of course. So if you let people know, I'd really love to have some more reviews on this book. It really helps the visibility. I'd love it if you haven't seen this book before, if you would download it and then leave me a review. That would be wonderful. And of course, those reviews are verified. This isn't a way that we're making money here. You're not getting any royalties because this is a free book promotion. However, we can get those reviews, and again, it might upsell people to the physical book itself. So if somebody has been thinking about buying your book, they weren't sure, they'd like to have a little look, this is an ideal opportunity to let them know that they can do that. So having your children's picture book on Kindle is not only about having another format that customers who prefer that can access, but also a really helpful promotional tool. So with all that in mind, I'll show you how to create an ebook for Kindle using Kindle Create. Let's go over to my laptop screen. Okay, so the first step is, of course, to download Kindle Create. I'll link this below in the description. but obviously choose the download option that you need. I'm going to get this downloaded and then I will show you what it looks like. So here we are, and we are of course creating a new ebook. And you can see here there are other options of different types of ebooks you can make. And I really like this program. I definitely think it's worth exploring if you're making a Kindle ebook. Now you can see that there's a tutorial. This is a web page, not a video or a pop-up. It is good, definitely worth a look. And I'm just going to hit continue and get this kids book made. Okay, so we're going to fill in the details. I'm creating an ebook for Our Living Soils, which is my upcoming children's book. Very exciting. And it's being published by my company, Sartain Publishing Limited. Here we go. So I've got options here. Now, virtual panels is sort of if you have a comic and you want to go panel to panel. I want guided view where I'm kind of guiding someone through the book. And then I want to go left to right. Now I've exported my book as spread, so I'm going to go for single pages because I want the layout that I've exported to just be seen as it is and definitely not to have two pages together. If you've exported as single pages and if it's appropriate, you might want facing pages. I will say that you need to get your file obviously ready before you get to using this program. So for me, I took out anything that was referring to the print book because I used the file for the print book as the basis for the ebook. So I took out things like the ISBN for the print book. You could add an ISBN if you're using one, but personally I'm just using the identifier that's assigned by Amazon in this instance. You might like to take out things like, for instance, for me, I have a page that says this book belongs to, where a child can write their name on there, and that's not going to work for an ebook, so I took that out. So anything that you decide you don't want in the ebook, you can remove. So once your files are ready, you should have an idea of what options you are thinking of using here, and you should be ready to go. So I'm going to choose the file and then we'll carry on from there. What I will say is, this might seem really obvious, but when the panel comes up to choose the file, it's got the JPEG or PNG file type selected. My file is a PDF, and it took me a moment to just realize that I had to drop down a box and choose PDF so that I was able to select my PDF file, because for a moment I thought I couldn't work from a PDF, but you can. So just in case that catches you out, it caught me out for a moment. Anyway, let's get this importing. Okay, here we are, and once it's imported, we have to hit continue. All right, here's my book. So you can choose your zoom. I'm going to go for, no, no, I'm just going to go for page width. I think that's the best one. Okay, so what you want to do is to guide somebody through navigating your book. And I really like this compared to how the Kids Book Creator worked. Let me show you. So you have an option of auto-detecting panels, which I'm going to do on this page so you can see how that works. And once you've done that, there's the panel. Now you can adjust that. So I'm going to make that so it's the whole front cover. And so when somebody's navigating that page, the whole page is just going to come up. Okay. So then the next page, if I did auto detect, it would just choose that whole page, which isn't what I want. So instead, I'm going to click add. And I think it's unlikely anyone's going to want to read the copyright information, but I'm going to put it in there. But I don't feel like I need to really zoom in all that much. I suppose I could have, I'll tell you what I could do and what I might do. So you can kind of make changes on the fly. I could have my copyright information like so, and then I can add another one to say that, whoops, what did I do there? Here we go. This project was sponsored by Natural England. Let's see how this looks. And then I could add another one for the half title. I'm gonna obviously make sure that that's centered and so on. And obviously you can sort of have a play around. There we go. Perhaps. I think I want that a bit bigger. Like that. That looks central. And let's have a look at how that page would look. So it comes up with copyright, Natural England, half page. I think that looks okay. Excellent. So we close that preview. And then on the next page, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to choose my text box, and then I am going to navigate over to the image. Now, the way that the kids book creator worked, what you had to do is you chose your area where the text was, and then you had like a pop-up panel where you would put all of the text in. So I would be having to work from a separate document where I was copying the text, pasting it into the text box, and then it always came up in a weird font and a weird format. So you would end up spending time kind of editing that and making it pop up in a good size and in a good format, you know, just so it was going to look okay. But I did always feel it was a little bit clunky, whereas this one, look, we just get text, picture, lovely. So what I'm going to do is close that, and I'm going to have a look at this text box here. And what I'm going to do is have a look at the size of it. So I want this to be standardized across everything. So I'm going to make it round numbers like so that I can remember it. And then when I make my text boxes as I go through, they can be in the same place so that as it navigates, it doesn't feel like some things are more zoomed than others. I think that will work quite well. And as I go on, if I find that some of the text is wider, then I can adjust that as needs be. Now, what I'm going to do is work through the rest of the book and make those different panels, and then I will show you how to export it all at the end. Okay, all done. And I liked that it prompted me to save all throughout that project, because it's easy to forget and to lose your progress. Although this didn't take long, it would be annoying if you had to redo work that you've done. But yeah, it was a very speedy process, which is good because I need to go back and do my other children's books. Okay, so I'm going to hit export, and I'm going to choose where I'm going to save this file. And there we go. It is saving that, and it's saving it as a .kpf. So it says your file is ready to publish. So I'm all good to upload that. Now, as I said, I'll be making a forthcoming video over the next couple of weeks where I'll go through what you do next. So how you actually publish your file on Kindle Direct Publishing. So look out for that one. In the meantime, I really hope that this video was helpful. If it was, please hit like. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe. I would love to have you as one of my subscribers. And I'll see you all soon for another video. Take care.